So guys,
Yes.
so let's see. When you guys heard Korean language for the first time, what was your impression? Like smooth or sounds flat or?
Well, definitely on first impression, Korean can be more direct. When they're, especially if they're trying to talk to like a stranger or at a restaurant for sure, it's definitely more direct. So it was hard to pick up on the cues of like when people were, it sounded like aggressive, but it wasn't in an aggressive way. Like once you learn what they're saying, is that they're actually saying it in a very polite way,
Right.
but they're like saying it
Straightforward.
like kind of straightforward. So
Right.
it felt aggressive at first, but then I realized it was very polite the way they were speaking.
It's like we have what we want, we just go for it kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So what about you, Nadia? You're from Ghana, so compared to your language.
It was a very different experience for me because the first time I heard Korean was actually when I heard Gangnam Style.
Oh,
So-
I see. Like,
Yes,
like
that was
Spanish,
the first time I ever heard Korean. And when I heard it, I was very fascinated because it was the first time I heard Korean and I couldn't really figure out what language it was.
Right.
So the whole time I was trying to, what language is this? What language is it? And it sounded really interesting to me, and I think that's what got me interested in Korea to begin with. It started from the language because it sounded very different and very unique to me. So from just listening to Gangnam Style, I started exploring Korean like language, and yeah, it's been really interesting. And actually, I don't really agree with you on Korean sign language. Maybe because
Yeah.
my dad is German.
Right.
So when Germans speak, it's a bit more.
Yes.
It sounds a bit more aggressive, but Korean sounds more like melodic to me.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, especially when Korean women speak, like they put a lot of emphasis on your word. It goes up and down, so it's very like melodic. So it's for me it was the opposite.
Sure. Yeah. Also my first city was Busan, so the accent could be a little bit stronger.
Right. The accent comes out like naturally, right?
Yeah.
Since you spent, how many years have you spent in?
In 2 years in Busan.
Oh, 2 years. Never
Yes.
knew that. Oh, wow, that's such a long time.
Yeah, I still miss the food there.
I know, right? So if you guys actually have like one word that would describe your impression toward Korean, what word would that be?
Oh, one word.
Efficient.
Efficient.
Efficiency is the word for me.
Efficient.
Efficient. I kind of have to agree because there's many times, like especially as we've been learning Korean, that like in English there's like a whole explanation, and in Korean it'll be like one word
Right.
to explain the goal.
Yes, all the time.
Right.
All the time.
All
You see the
time.
Korean word and the translation in English is really long. But there's some
Twin
words in
words, right.
Korean that actually describe feelings or taste that we don't have the exact words in
Mhm.
English. And I was like, why don't we have this kind of word in English?
Nadia just made a really good point because in Korean, there are words that cannot be transferable well in
Yeah.
other languages, right?
Yes.
So let's say, do you guys know the meaning of, let's say, Aggyo?
Aggyo?
Do you
Yeah.
have that language in your country as well?
No, they don't. People kind of know it because so I'm from San Francisco. There's a big Asian culture there, so I've seen it and I knew what it was,
Right.
but there really wasn't much of like a English word that I could just describe it directly.
Oh, I see. But what about you, like in your country?
I guess when you want to describe Aggyo, the way I would describe it to someone who doesn't know Korean, or the word I would say is when someone acts cute.
Right.
But Aggyo goes more than that.
Right.
And normally in Western countries, when you say someone is acting cute with the way they speak, especially for an adult, people frown upon it.
Right.
But in Korea, it's very different. I guess that's also the cultural thing with the language. Yes.
Right.
Because if I go to someone and I like try to speak Aggyo in English, people
Yeah.
look at me like, "What's wrong with this?"
Yeah.
She's weird.
Oh, okay. So I have one question.
Yes.
You can be just honest, you know. Like
Sure.
people are not gonna like throw stones at you.
Okay.
You for this. So what is your thinking when you see a girl that actually do too much aggyo on you or around you?
It's not my style. It's kind of. I mean, again, we also didn't come from a culture where like if you're acting overly cute and naive, it's kind of frowned upon. But like, I definitely have seen people like it here, but yeah, it's not a thing for me.
You have something to say.
I don't know, maybe it's because we grew up in a different culture, so it's not something we're used to. Because when people speak to me, I prefer that they speak straightforward.
Yeah.
So that I can understand them. And also I'm not fluent in Korean to begin with, so when they also speak in Aggyo, it makes it harder for me to sometimes catch what they're saying.
Right.
Because they try to make it really cute, so they might twist the pronunciation a bit.
Right.
And if you're not very good with Korean, it might be a bit hard for you to understand.
I had that problem at first too. Somebody was speaking to me in Aggyo, and I had to stop them and say, "Can you please just speak?"
Not do it.
Yeah, because it was really hard to follow at first. So it'd be like nay, they'd be like nay, or something like that, and it's just like, I was like, is this a different word? I was like, oh.
It's like culture shock.
And I think normally in Western countries, like when you speak cutie, it's normally to like family or someone you're really close with or someone you're romantic with.
Right.
But not just to people in general. If you speak like that, people will be like, oh, what's wrong with you?
I know, right?
Yeah, I guess it's all very cultural.
Yeah.
Because in Korea, like we take it for granted that like when girls do Aggyo on us, we kind of think, oh, she's cute. Like she's actually like showing her like let's say affection toward me or like toward us. So therefore, I love her back for that as well, kind of thing. So that's the way I take it personally. But I don't know what my friends ever take it.
Yeah.
But if definitely, here's one thing. I actually talked about this with my other Korean friends. If the girl does too much Aggyo, actually we get goosebumps or like we get cringy.
Oh yeah, it is felt cringy,
right?
Yeah.
It's too much. So the appropriate amount actually matters most like this. For us.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.